Welcome to Module 11 of the QuickBooks Accounting Software training. In the last 10 modules, we looked at data entry up to report generation. And of course, when you generate these reports, they are for decision-making both internally and externally. So in Module 11, you're going to look at how you can use these reports to help you with your loan application process. My name is Lilian Katiso. I'm a financial management consultant and QuickBooks trainer. In Module 11, we're going to look at some of the reports that you can generate from QuickBooks to support you with your loan application process. We're going to show you how to export and generate and export the balance sheet, the income statement, the statement of cash flows, and management accounts, specifically the accounts payable and the accounts receivable. Then once we've exported these reports to Excel, we're going to show you how to compute some of the key financial ratios from the reports that you have generated, but using the spreadsheets that we will have been using. So I'm going to share my QuickBooks screen so that I can take you through the exporting process. Okay, so I'm now sharing my QuickBooks screen, and this is the homepage as you've now become familiar with over the 10 modules. So we go to reports. And the report section, you'll get all the reports that you need for different purposes, okay? So most of the company-related financial reports, you go to that button, company financial reports, and you'll get most of the reports there. And the other sets of reports are under accountant and taxes. You get mostly your trial balance and your general ledger there. But for audit purpose, for the loan application process, we're going to look here under company and financial tab. We're going to start with the balance sheet. As if you scroll down here, you're going to get the balance sheet previous year comparison, because this one allows you to compare two financial years, okay? This data set that I'm using, the financial year runs January to December, and the financial year end in this case is 31st December 2022. So as you can see, before you generate a report, you check that the financial year you're looking at that's the one that you really want to consider. So QuickBooks is very date specific. So in this case, the first column is for report ending 31st December 2022, and the previous year is 31st December 2021. This third column is just a change of the two financial years in absolute amount, and this last column shows the percentage change between the two financial years, okay? So to export this report, you click here under Excel, create new worksheet, and then a new workbook, and then you export. So that is going to be exported to Excel. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to export all the reports to Excel, and then now we go to Excel and do the ratio calculations, okay? So I've exported the balance sheet. Now I'm going to export. I've exported the balance sheet. Now I'm going to export the profit and loss statement. You still go through the same process, company and financial. I'm going to look at the profit and loss previous year comparison to compare to financial years as well. And so this is, you can see it's January to December 2022, January to December 2021, the change between the two financial years, and then the change in percentage form. And I'm going to export this data set as well in Excel. And then in case you have your profit and loss, you have cost centers in your business, which means that you're using cost centers to track your profitability of the different business segments that you have. What you do is you can generate a report by class. That is a profit and loss by class, okay? So we generate profit and loss by class as well. And for this one, I'm just going to look at one financial year, and then you can see the columns to show is by class. So from the drop down here, you can choose how you want the columns to be shown. In this case, I'm looking at the columns by class. So it has the different classes of your profit centers. And I'm going to export this as well to Excel. Then sometimes the bank might want your immediate performance, not just for the last 2 financial years, but they might also be looking at maybe the last quarter, okay? So you can also be able to generate that report and show month-on-month performance as well, okay? And to do that, we still go through the same tab, go to reports. In this case, you take the profit and loss standard. And if you wanted the data set for the last quarter, so this one is showing the last month, this month, rather 1st of December to 31st of December. So if you want to show, let's say last financial quarter or last financial, yeah, so you can choose the last financial quarter is the last quarter before that one. And this current quarter, this financial quarter is the one that runs October to December. But you can also type in the time frame that you want in between here, from which date, okay? You choose the date that you want to start the data set from to the ending date. So now here you choose and you choose the month, okay? The columns to show by month. So then it show you the October performance, November performance, and December performance. And you export that. And the total, of course, for that quarter, you export this data set as well to Excel. Okay. Now we're also going to, once you've exported that one, we are also going to export another financial statement. And the financial statement that we are going to export now is the statement of cash flows. So you still go through that company and financial, and then towards the bottom here, you see statement of cash flows. Okay, so the statement of cash flows, just make sure that the period that you're looking at is the financial year that you want to look at, yeah? Then you export that to Excel as well. Okay, so we have exported those key financial statements. So we're going to also export okay. We're going to also export other financial reports, the management ones, which specifically we're going to look at the accounts receivable. So we are going to look at the accounts receivable for the period that is ending 31st of December 2022. We're going to collapse this so that you just have the summary version of the report, and we export that to Excel as well. And then lastly, once that one is done, we are going to export the accounts payable as well. So you go to under reports and you go to suppliers and payables, and you get your account summary. And you export that as well. If you want to collapse it, you can collapse it if it has multiple sections, but if there's no multiple fields, then you can just export it. Now, so this as just some of the examples of the supporting schedules that you need for you to back up your balance sheet, okay? So there might be many other schedules that might be asked of you, but you just go to the reports tab and you generate the reports from there. Okay, so now that we have exported those reports, what I'm going to do, I'm going now to share my spreadsheet screen so that we calculate some financial ratios. Okay, so I'm sharing my spreadsheet screen. So this is the data set that we exported from QuickBooks. So we have the profit, the balance sheet, previous year comparison. We have the profit and loss, previous year comparison as well, profit and loss by month. We have the statement of cash flows. We have the accounts receivable. We have the accounts payable. We have the profit and loss by class. So what you have to do before, of course, you start doing the analysis to make sure that you have a complete data set, that the data you're having, you're comparing period, the same period. So, for example, if you look at your balance sheets, the thing that connects the balance sheet with the profit and loss and with the statement of cash flows is the checking that this profit for the period is the same profit for the period that you have across. So the profit for the period here, as you can see, that's the profit for the period is $257,026 shillings, $26. So now if you go to the profit and loss tab, you check the profit for the period and see, is it the same one? Yes, it's the same one, $257,000 as well is the profit for the period in that report. If you look at the statement of cash flows, it should be the one that starts out your statement of cash flows, the same figure, yes. So we have a complete set, although at least those three financials is a complete set. Then you want to check, for example, that what you have here as your accounts, total accounts receivable, $297,000, your schedule for accounts receivable should also be the same. So let's go to the accounts receivable schedule, and yes, it's the same as that one. Then also going back to the balance sheet, we look at the accounts payable. I'm just sampling some. So if you look at the accounts payable, we see it's $123,000. So we look at our accounts payable schedule and we see it's the same. Okay, so we have a complete data set, and now we can look at some of the ratio analysis. Now, there are two things. You can do your ratio analysis within the different statements. Okay, you just below at the bottom here, you can say, for example, you want to do your current ratio. Sure. Okay, and you do, so you go and look for your current assets. Where's our current assets? Look at your current assets here. Divide that by your total current liabilities. Total current liabilities there. Okay, so you have your ratio of 1.9. We just reduce this decimals. If I reduce the decimal, actually it comes to 2, which is a good ratio, of course, in accounting speak. But I'm just saying you can do your ratio calculations from within each of the reports. But what I prefer to do is have a separate tab for the different ratios, okay? So in this tab, I have all the different ratios, then I'll just link this to the different reports. And you can have this as your template that you use for the different reports, different either quarters that you're working on or year-end reports. So you have liquidity ratios and you have them listed there. You have your asset management ratios, you have your leverage ratios, and you also have your profitability ratios there. So you just go and tab onto the reports that are on the other sheets and add them here. Okay, so for example, we want to do the current ratio for the year ending 31st December 2020. So you put an equal sign here, then you go to the balance sheet and look for our current assets total. The current assets total is here. Okay, divide that by our current liabilities. Okay. Okay, so you see, you get the same value we have got previously. Okay, but now the beauty of this is that you have them in one place. So if you want to compare the previous year, of course, it's also seated more or less in the same space. So you get your current assets. Okay, get your total current assets from there, and you divide that by your current liabilities for the same period. Okay. Okay, and you have your ratio there. Okay, so you do that for the different types of ratios that you want to calculate. So you can calculate your liquidity ratios. You can calculate your calculate your asset management ratios. You can calculate your leverage ratios. Okay, so for example, we can look at your total debt to total assets. Let's just look at that. So we go to total debt. To go to the balance sheet, it is our total debt. So we have here our total current liabilities plus our total, there's some other long-term liabilities here. And then, okay, so we add that. Okay, then we divide that by our total assets. Okay, so we have our total assets. So our total assets, which we have our fixed assets here, and we add our total current assets as well. Okay. Yeah, so you get your total debt to assets ratio. Okay. Then also you can go and you say, I want to look at one of the profitability ratios. So in this case, we look at the gross profit margin. Okay, so we go to the P&L. So from the P&L, we look at the total. Okay, so we look at total sales minus your total cost of sales. Then that one, we divide that by our total sales. Okay, and we have a ratio of 0.57. Okay, so you can do the previous year as well. Go back to the report. And so we get the sales for that period minus the cost of goods sold. Okay, and then we divide that by that. Okay. Yeah, so that gives you 0.55. Okay. So when you have the ratios for the two financial years on the same page, you can easily see how your performance is improving or not improving. Okay, so that is how you go about calculating the ratios. I'm just showing you the principle on how to go about it, and then you calculate the ratios that you need for your organization or for the purpose for which you might need them, either for internal stakeholders or in this case for your financials if you're applying for a loan to the bank. Okay, so that is how you make use of the ratios. So in this module 11, we have exported reports from QuickBooks. We have exported them into Excel, and from Excel, we have seen how to check that we are having a complete data set. And from that, you're able to do what? To calculate your ratios. And we have one tab that we can use to calculate all our ratios for sharing forward with whoever the stakeholder might be. So thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best with your loan application process. I believe it will be smooth and it will be fun to go through the process. Thank you very much for watching.